Hi, Ren, and welcome to a Smurgos interview. I know we've been working with each other for, I think, about a month and a half now with the Emzingo and the Emzingo program. And I know I've worked with you and I've really enjoyed working with you and your whole team. Those of you who are watching this, this is the first interview of four. We're going to meet the whole Emzingo team that worked with us. Ren was the rebel of the group, and he's like, no, I'm going to go first. So he's the man he's representing. And thanks so much for joining us, Ren.
Thanks so much for having me, Nick.
So, Ren, as I mentioned, I know a bit about you, but break it down for the viewers out there and the followers of Smurgos. Who is Ren?
Yeah. Okay. Long story short, my name is Ren. I was born in China, and when I was 8 years old, I moved to Canada with my mother, especially to Montreal. And when I arrived, I didn't know a word of French or English, so I had to go through some years of learning the language. And yeah, so really learning the language, learning a new culture because it's really different from China here. And fast forward 15 years later, because I'm 23 now. Feel kind of weird to say still
Yeah, it
because
was recently
it's
your birthday, right?
yes, last week.
Congrats.
So yeah, thank you. It feels great to move up the 20 ladders. Not yeah. So yeah, fast forward 15 years later, I'm here today. So right now, um, I go to McGill University, and I am a management student. I major in finance and accounting.
Sure.
So for this summer, I've been working with Emzingo, and that's how I knew Nick and Nicole through Smurgles. And I'm also an intern at Google for the Africa region. So that's basically it for my experience. In terms of extracurriculars, um, I started organization last year, and the goal is to really mentor and help newly immigrants students arriving in Montreal, because I know from experience that it can be pretty scary, especially if you don't speak the language and
Mm-hmm.
arriving in a new culture. Also, we speak of a lot of things dealing with discrimination, racism, especially with what is arriving in the United States right now and throughout the world, really, with Black Lives Matter. But I think others, minorities like the Asian, Hispanic, also Arabs, also suffer from that. So our goal from our organization is really to guide them and to answer question whether it's related to culture or academics in Montreal. So yeah, that's basically
That
me.
that's awesome. So uh, I have to touch on it because you don't hear from many people saying I work for Google. Is that quite an experience?
Yes. Uh, well, I'm learning so much. Like it's like you learn stuff. Like I'm working the financial side of Google, but you learn like the theory in class, like the finance stuff. But once you arrive in the real world, it's really different. Like
Yeah,
you're like like a like a new fish in the water and just trying to swim and make you make it through. And
yeah,
it's really being like the beginning was really hard. It was really hard. I felt so bad because I had so many questions because I didn't know anything. Like I bombarded my supervisor with questions. Like he must have think that dude, why did he take him? He doesn't know anything. Like why did he take him? But yeah, I'm learning a lot, and yeah, it's been quite experience actually working for Google. It's because I think my colleagues, like some are from Harvard, some are from Stanford, Yale, and like
those big names.
McGill is a well-known university in Canada, but for them, might as well not be university for them. Like they don't
Yeah.
know when I say McGill, right? So yeah, it's I'm learning a lot. Yeah, I'm just being surrounded by so many smart people. It's it's really cool. I'm very grateful for it.
That is cool. I mean, if I go back to my own experience a few years ago, well, actually now it's quite a few years ago, when I first started teaching, I experienced the same as you. You know, You can learn as much theory as you like in the university setting or wherever, but the real learning only really starts once you leave and you get put into a new circumstance or a new situation. And kind of tying into your fish and water analogy, like you sink or swim. And swimming is better than sinking. So yeah, I get what you're saying. But I mean, the fact that you are asking a ton of questions or asked a ton of questions, I mean, that's the best way forward. And the best way to improve is also to surround people that are either equal to you or like those pushing you forward and pushing you to improve. So I think you're on the right track. And also, you mentioned your passion project with the immigrants to Montreal. So I'd love to hear more about that. I know that's your kind of thing. One thing I wanted to know is, did you start this? And you said it's an organization. So are there a team of people working with you? Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I started the organization, like the name and everything, last September 2019.
Okay.
And we actually did go to a few school in January 2020, but because of COVID, it stopped. And so right now we are 42 MIGO student immigrants, MIGO student, and the goal is really to go to class, make a presentation of who we are and why we are here. And basically we leave our contact information, and we give them to students, also to the teacher, and the teacher can give to the immigrant parents actually. And they can ask us a whole bunch of questions, and it's been really great actually. I think I was surprised that it was not already an initiative like that, but there were none. And it was surprising how much they had questions, especially the parents about, so because when you arrive in Montreal, you go to something called reception classes. It's where you learn the language. It's not a regular classes. It's not like 4th, 5th, 6th grade. It's a reception class, and after that you get put to a real classes with people here. So there were tons of questions about, okay, what's gonna happen next? How's the high school work? How's the university work here? And I think the biggest thing is that the parents saw in us that we are prior immigrants who made it here. We made it here. We are at the best university in one of the best universities in Canada. Like, we made it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest factor for them, that, okay, because a lot of parents come to Canada because they want to offer a better life for their children. It was the case for my mother. That's why she moved there. And I think sometimes when you hear those parents talk, you're like, and they say like, thank you for being a model for us. And it's the best feeling in the world, really. And just thank you for showing us that it's possible. Like, we made the right choice. We made the right sacrifices to come here. And it's a great feeling. So for the next semester, it's going to be kind of tricky. So right now the schools are actually open in Quebec. Like, the children will go to school in person. But for us university students, it's all online. A majority of classes are online. So we are still trying to decide and respect the guidelines of the government of how are we gonna do it online, or can we go to classes? So that's still have to be discussed.
And I mean, also I'm sure you're busy debating and thinking about like how you could also do this remotely. Yes, you obviously first prize would be going to the schools and standing in front of the children, but perhaps an online platform or a Zoom interview or a Zoom introduction may be an option as well. But I think the work that you're doing is awesome, and like you said, I think when you are an example for someone who's trying to go through what you've gone through, it makes it all much easier for them. And I think it also spurs you on to do more. I've had that experience personally because I went to a special needs school up to the age of 9 before I went to a mainstream school. And I think when I was about 13 or so, maybe a little bit older, I went back to that school, the special needs school, as a guest speaker, to show the people, or to show the children that were currently at that school, that you don't have to, you know, be restricted in terms of your thinking. And, you know, I have left this environment and I've challenged myself in that, you know, other environment. And yes, it's harder, but, you know, it's more rewarding in some ways as well. And much like you were saying, you know, the parents were making the decision to have their children have a better life. It was a very similar situation with myself and my family. You know, they just wanted me to have a better education and a more well-rounded one that could push me and advance me in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you have any big plans? So obviously I'm talking about Ren's future. Does it, you know, what does that involve? And also, if you want to talk about the big plans for your passion project as well, you can.
Yeah. So first of all, for me personally, when I first arrived at university, I had no idea what I wanted to do really. So that's why I went to management. But as the year went by, medicine started to resonate with me a little bit.
Okay.
So what I did was in 2018, I started doing volunteering work in a hospital in the intensive care unit.
Mm-hmm.
And my job was to when family arrive, I had to guide them to the hospital because it's quite confusing actually. And in the intensive care unit, what happened is that those are like accidents that happen the same day. So families arrive, they are confused, they don't know what happened. Just the police who call them, they say, "Come to this hospital, your son was being in an accident." So they are in the shock state. And so my job is to really reassure them.
Wow.
And guide them to the ICU. And what I can also do is that I can shadow some physicians, so I can follow them around in their rounds and when they visit patient and see what's the work of a physician. And I really fell in love with that. And last year I made the choice to begin doing my science classes that I needed in order to be able to apply to medicine.
Oh, awesome.
So my big plan right now is to finish my undergrad in finance and accounting and to apply for medicine next year.
Sure.
So yeah, that's the big plan right now, and it's quite a big plan because
it is.
You need some really good grades. You need really good. It's super competitive, and so right now I'm just pouring myself. School gonna start soon, so my classes I need to do well, and that's the big plan. And after that, for my last semester, because I have 3 semesters left, so normally I will graduate next fall, December 2021. And for the last semester, if COVID allows it, I would like to go on an exchange semester. I would really love that, to go to another university in another continent, because I never experienced that. Like a lot of my friends did it, and they said like, yeah, it's a life-changing experience. It's really cool. It's really cool because I'm someone who really believes in going out of a comfort zone. And you know, I'm still living with my parents still, so I never been on my own.
Yeah.
And a semester abroad will allow me to be really independent, and I would really love that. So that's my 2 goal right now: semester abroad and medicine. Yeah,
that's awesome. In terms of medicine, are you looking? Are you just gonna? Does your plan go as far as I'm going to study medicine, or do you know like what you're going to specialize in? Like, are you going into pediatrics with children, or surgery, or ER, or you don't know at the moment?
So I've done a lot of research on that. I looked at so much medicine videos online on YouTube, like people who talk about the application or people who aren't in medicine. And they say that 50% of people who go into medical school have an idea of the specialty they want to get in and change throughout their medical school. Because what happened is that the first 2 years of medical school, it's all in class, but the last 2 years are half hospital, half in class. And you really get to see all the specialty when you go in the hospital. And so people really changed the idea. But right now, I really love working with children. So pediatrics sounds really, really cool for me. Yeah, and when ICU and it has to be with children, it really touches me. And yeah, it's really pediatrics for now. But like I said, maybe completely
who knows?
different when I
But
go in.
I mean, working with you in general, you're a really caring guy, and I think that I think you've got the brains and the heart for pediatrics. I think you'll be awesome.
Thank you so much.
So,
The only thing is that, these tattoos,
yeah.
not sure it's going to be viable in medicine though.
Ah,
Not sure how, I mean, the word is beginning to be more acceptable towards tattoos. I think it's becoming more a form of arts than more of a gang thing. But still, working with children, I don't know. It's kind of touchy. I think one of the job of a doctor is really to put the patient at ease and make them trust you as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And I feel like your arm tattoo will get in the way of that.
But am I right that that's a temporary tattoo?
Yeah, that's a temporary one. But I did because I received it in gift because I always said that if I wanted to become like a chef, for example, like in a restaurant, I will already have an arm tattoo, like a whole sleeve. But because of my career choices, I'm still on the fence. So that's why my friends got me this fake one. Like, you can have your dream for like a week.
Yeah. Well, you can't see mine because, as you know, it's winter here, or it's turning into winter/spring. So it's still a bit cold. But I do have a half sleeve. I've shown it to you before. And a lot of people said to me, like, you're a teacher. Do you think that's wise? And to be honest with you, I've got a story behind my tattoo, and it has meaning. And I've explained that to you before. And I think in some schools it is a problem, but majority of schools it's okay. Because it's got meaning behind it, and because it's not like completely outrageous or whatever. Mine's a koi fish done in the style of quite an artistic style, which links to perseverance and determination, which is how I guide my life. So I think if your tattoo has some meaning, it is a little bit easier. But I do agree with you. I think rocking up to like a 5 or 6 year old with a full sleeve tattoo might be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, with a terrified mother by her side, and who is this guy? Is he gonna take care of my son? Like,
yeah. So maybe you want to look at a half sleeve.
Something that you can cover
because
up.
then you can roll up your sleeves. That's what I do as well. Sometimes if I know that people aren't going to be like too comfortable, I wear like a shirt and I roll up half sleeve, so it's covered and they won't see it. That's the sneaky thing to do. That's very awesome. And with your passion project, are you aiming to grow that? Do you want to spread it further, or do you want to keep it local? Do you have any ideas on that?
Well, so for now, my goal is really to help the Montreal community. I would like to touch to every school that have reception classes for immigrant students. That's my goal. Right now, we are not near that. So for now, it's really expanding in the Montreal region. Because Montreal is quite interesting, right? We are a French community here. It's not English like the rest of Canada. And our culture is, I think, from an outsider point of view, people think of French Canada, just Canada, but they speak French. But the culture is really, 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 really different.
Okay.
Yeah, like the song, the stories, we all have that on our own. And like I said, sometimes when I go to like Toronto, or like the other provinces in Canada, I don't feel at home. I don't feel like I'm in my home, even if it's the same country. That's crazy because, like here, every stop signs, it's all in French. Like everything you see, it's all in French because there's the government rules that everything has to be in French.
Sure.
And when you go to like other provinces, it's all in English. And yeah, so for right now, it's ready to focus in Montreal. I think I will be very, really happy if we can just help the community here. It's really my goal for now. I don't really see it as like I don't want to like start a company or something. I just my goal is really make an impact
Yeah.
in my own community, and if I can achieve that, I will be a really happy man.
Yeah. And I think that's where I keep referring it to as your passion project. And I think that's what it is for you. You're not looking to make a company out of it or, anything like that. I think your main drive is a difference. And I think that's an awesome thing to do, especially, with you having gone through it yourself and knowing what it feels like and then helping others to go through that a little bit easier. I think that's awesome. And I think that's also why you ended up choosing to work with Smurgos, am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly the same reason.
I can't recall, but I think you had something like 8 different projects to choose from when you were first introduced to Emzingo. And so do you want to just quickly go through that? Because we haven't introduced our followers to Emzingo before. So if you want to just give your side of the story from your Emzingo experience and then like work it forward.
Yeah, so Emzingo, what it is, it's a company that offers, it's quite interesting actually. They offer consulting jobs for MBA and undergrad students. And normally we will go to the country in which the program is. So in my case, will be South Africa, where Nick lives. And because of COVID, it's all virtual for this summer. And so at the beginning, we have like a orientation week. And in the orientation week, they will introduce to to Emzingo and to the story of South Africa. They will like, at the end of the week, they will introduce us to the potential field partners. And so Julie, Nick knows who she is. She's gonna present every company that we can partner with and what they're asking for in terms of deliverables. And for me, when I saw Smurgos, it was like I said, often refers to it like a tunnel vision. I only saw Smurgos as the possible field partners because other ones are more like tech, marketing stuff, and agriculture, which is great. But for me, because of disabilities and like health in that area, it was more for me. And how Judy presented Smurgos as this company who really trying to make a difference in their own community, and how the founders are people with disability as well. That makes me like, okay, they must be really passionate about what they do. So I really love to work with them. And like I said before, they asked us to justify why we would like to work with the specific field partners. I wrote a novel. I talk about how I wanted to go into medicine and how I have my own organization and impact, and I threw all the fancy word and all the emotional words that I could think of, and I got it. So I was like, yes, hell yes.
And we were like, yes. So I'm glad that worked out, and I'm sure your piece. We didn't get to see it. We never get to see those. But I'm sure your piece was awesome because I mean, you've been part of a great team, and it's been awesome working with you. Now that the project is over, we'll obviously speak more about the project when we have the call with everybody together. The specifics of what you guys did and stuff like that. So before I leave, or before I let you get back to your day, because you're 6 hours behind us. So it's midday for you, and it's like evening for us. So I know you got to get back to work. I wanted to ask you, because obviously our slogan is inspiring motion. And, that means to move people forward, to move society forward, and to just, in general, like move people in the right direction. So I wanted to know, like, what or who inspires you?
Well, who? It's easy. It's just my mother. The sacrifices that she made to move to a whole new country, like leaving behind her family, her friends, her job, and to come here and work in like a restaurants at night and like a day job to support the two of us. It really shows us her how dedicated she is to offer me a better life. And when I think of like slacking off or like not doing anything for the day because I don't feel like it, I think of the sacrifice she made me, and I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna let this slip by. And that's the one of the main reasons why I started my organization. Like, I felt like I was in a very privileged situation, and I had to do something about it, or otherwise I would feel like I wasted my gift to be able to help someone but not do it because of whatever reasons. But yeah. But I also wanted to touch on the quote one,
Okay.
if that's possible. I have a quote that it really is really like yours. It's by Wayne Gretzky, hockey legend. He says, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take."
Yes.
Yeah, right. This one. It really resonated with me because, you know, so as human, we're afraid to fail. Like, we're afraid to be judged, and we're afraid to be failed, and we're afraid to be told that we are not good at something. And you know, it's you're gonna, if you try something, you might fail, yeah. But if you don't try it, you're gonna fail for sure. So that's why you really have to just move forward and try
and do
it. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, I think if you ask 8 years old me, when I first arrived in Canada, like, are you gonna be able to learn French in English and not be behind everybody else in your year? Like, you asked me now at 2023, and you asked me to do it now, I was like, no way I can learn 2 languages.
Yeah.
And have a new life here. Like, no way. But I as a child, you're like pretty naive, and you don't think about the mountain. I was just going day by day, and I just did it.
Yeah.
And it worked out, but I didn't overthink it. I didn't think, oh, I might fail. I just did it. I think that's the way to see life. I think just to, if you fail, learn from it and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I think first touching on what you said first, I think that's so honorable, what your mom did, but also what you're doing in honor of her. I think, you know, it's beautiful, and I think you've spoken from the heart, and I think that also pushes you in the right direction, doing it for the right reasons. And I think, you know, it's quite interesting because you say, you know, it was tough for you when you came over. I know we've spoken about that off the call as well. When you first started in Canada, it wasn't a walk in the park. But now you've said that it was a huge opportunity for you, and it's, you know, paved a path that might be, you know, a better future for you. And now you're saying that, you know, with that, you are using that as a motivating factor to push yourself forward and to make yourself more successful, because otherwise you feel like you are letting your mother down. But I also think that you would be also kind of letting yourself down. And I think if you didn't push yourself, because that's what I kind of think as well, you know, like you were saying, the greatest risk is not, well, that's my mantra, the greatest risk is not taking one. Because I believe that life is all about experience. And that's what you were talking about now. You were saying, you know, just do it. If you, you know, get it, you get it. If you don't, it's cool. You've, you know, learned from the experience. So that's cool. So thank you so much for joining me, Ren. It's been awesome talking to you. And we'll be catching up again when we have the whole team together. But I want you to have an awesome week, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you so much, Nick, for having me once again. I can tell enough on you and Nicole are such inspiration, especially for my passion project. And I'll catch you soon. Have a nice break. Please don't overwork yourself. Try to watch a movie, something with Nikki. Just chill out. And I'll see you soon.
For those of you who aren't aware, I'm a workaholic. And with Ren working with me, because of the time difference, I work almost all hours. And so I'll send him messages like early or late his time, which is completely different to mine. So that's why he knows that I'm a workaholic. But I do have a bit of a break now, Ren. And I am making an effort to take evenings off at least. So I will be trying to watch more movies with Nikki and chill a bit. But thank you very much.
All right. Enjoy yourself. All right.
Cool.
See you later. Take care.
Bye.